So there's a render function, and its entirety is here. There's also a return function. This is again an Excel class. Interesting. Somebody mentioned in the Twitch chat that Next.js is frustrating. All right, so the render function here has just a simple constant. Headers is an empty array, which to me is funny because it almost feels like you're creating this array once, right? But then the contents of the array are mutable. The reference of headers to the array is immutable, hence the constant part. So anyway, all right, so there's a for loop, and this is the for of loop, right? So we're going to push, well, let's see. For every title of this.props.headers, okay, so this is lives on all the headers keys that live on the this.props object, right? We're going to push the values, which we'll call title, into the headers array. So now headers will contain an array that this.props will supply. So we saw that up here, although we have to sort of look at the logic that sort of being created or used to. Here are the headers. This is constant headers. Let's look at the code base real quick, or just code, not really code base or something. This is the routing stuff. Hold on. Maybe it's all in here actually. All right. So here's some of the data. Minimize this. Got a utility function there. So one obvious question is, where does this data exactly come in? This is not it. Maybe a function. Oh, initial data is data. So we're calling this thing, and here's the constant data. Okay. So we're calling or rendering this component Excel with the headers and data variables, which we enumerate or or whatever listed here. So that makes sense. So it's available to this object, or I guess this component, maybe the best way to look at it. And here's the component, SHEXCEL. All right. So where are we with render? Here it is. All right. So this is going to end up changing a lot, but this is at least the initial run of it. And this is sort of how we pass that information to the component with when we call it. All right, so that makes sense. So now, what does this component return? Well, a table, HTML table, thead, which I suppose, is that different from th? I think so. It seems weird to me. What's the difference? I'm not an HTML guru. Thead in HTML. All right, there's a thead tag. And how about th in HTML? Yeah, what's th versus thead? The thead tag is used to group the header content. The th tag is used to give header in the cell. Oh, I see. I'm still confused. So this is the th tag. Okay. What about the t head tag? Seems awfully similar, don't you think? One is inline versus one is... column header versus a table header. So th is the column header, t head is the table header. Let's look at the code. I guess that's partially what sort of confuses me. Yeah, I think Mr. LDS has it right in the YouTube chat. Okay, so these are the headers. Whereas t-head is not visible. That makes sense. Okay, so here's t-head, and the row will contain the headers. And again, it's kind of like magic that it all renders the way one expects. Part of it is the CSS, I think. Yeah, what's interesting is if you pass an array in JSX, the parser treats it as if you passed each element individually. In this example, the elements of the headers array contain more JSX content, and this is perfectly fine. The loop before the return populates the headers array with JSX values, which, if you were hard-coding the data, would look like this. Alright, table headers loop, a terse version. The previous example worked fine, but let's see how you can accomplish the same with less code. Let's move the loop inside the JSX, returned at the end. Okay. In essence, the whole render method becomes a single return. Alright, so render return. That's interesting, right? Render, and you can see that we got some logic in here in the final one, and then but we still have the return kind of here. There's a toolbar. There's a bunch of different things here. All right, well anyway, we're returning this, yeah, it's all wrapped in a div, but here's the table, and then you have t-head. If you click it, there's a sort functionality here, but the first row, this should be the first row, right? This.props.headers.map. So we have a bunch of logic there. And then there's the table body. But this is the head logic, which is about 10 lines of code. Let's take a look. Again, kind of rereading this chapter just to get reacclimated with all this stuff. What's up, malware? What's up, Andrew Tate? $10 million is not too hard to make. All right. I don't think 10 million followers will bring you too much money, but regardless, yeah, probably eventually, maybe worth something. But all right, anyway, let's get focused here. So render. All right, we're returning the table head, table row. All right, so here's the key part: is this map. This.props.header.map, and so we're sending the title with the arrow function, and it's just simply here th title. So this sort of that. So we return within a return. It's a little too verbose. This is a little closer to the code we settled on. Just added this key thing. All right. All right. Yeah, there's this very well-known React console warning. Yeah, I know Mr. LDS would just like to finish this book page by page for sure. They even talk about that in this book. Each child on the list should have a unique key property. All right. Let's call this IDX. Oh, I see. We're taking data, running clone on it, mapping it with this variable idx, which is you don't need to declare this variable. It's not like C. But you would think in here, like, yeah, this const idx, but you don't do that in here. These variables are, what are they called again? I forgot how they're not arguments, more like this weird kind of local undeclared variable that only has a certain scope. Oops. Here's a declaration, but this should be scoped just to that. Oh, we're going to functional. Don't worry, Philip. This is just happens to be the class components in this chapter. Alright, so in this render function, it looks like there will be this idx variable. Again, it doesn't ever have to be declared, which is a little strange to me. Yeah, I'm definitely going to TypeScript at some point. Thanks, Yevgeny, and thanks for joining us. This is React. Just real simple. You can see the code at bashercorp.com. It's a simple table, nothing too special. Just trying to zip through this book and get to functional components in a minute, but I kind of felt lost in this code base and started to feel like I had to start over again, refamiliarize myself with it. So where I'm kind of stuck on now is, again, with this sort of that you don't need to, I guess, how do I show this, what I'm talking about? Let me see. That I can do, not even a for loop, let me see here. That I can do any kind of, like, you know, function. I mean, basically, I don't have to declare the variable that's an argument in a function. I can just call it idx. It never has to be declared anywhere, which again is, I guess it gets attached to the function object under the hood, but that's just, again, it's a little unusual to me. And again, I'm maybe thinking back to old C days where everything needs to be declared. This is definitely the map function, right? So this is an argument to the map function. Yeah, I'm familiar with how map works, but it's just, again, for whatever reason, disorienting me. Anyway, let's go back to it. Alright, so TD will have the key, which I believe is React. Is TD? That's not HTML, is it? I don't think so. Yeah, it's a React. It's a Reactism. This could be like ID or something like that. Key is not HTML. TD, of course, is. Alright, so and this is just sort of, you can, key is not an HTML. Let's see here. HTML list elements.
Market data connection re-established.
I don't think key is one. Let's see. All right. So anyway, so this is very similar to sort of this function. This is the search row, so let's go back to, where are we? Nope, this is right. Render. for table head? Here it is. All right. Perfect. Okay, that makes sense. So this is sort of what this code became. And if we look at the map documentation, it's one of the most important functions in JavaScript. Not the map. I'm looking for the map function, not the map. That's funny. This is the map, like data type. Wrong map. The map method. There it is. So current value and index, and then there's another sort of variable possible, but. These are props, right? The headers won't change. Here's the constructor, and then the state. Here's the clone, that weird clone helper. Let's see that concat. You can find this on bashercorp, bashercorp.com. That's the where this is currently live. It's just like a little Excel list. It's nothing special. It's just a tool to learn React. So concatenating an array merges the arrays. Okay, that makes sense. So cloning initial data. Oh, so it's all one really big array. That's here. Almost like to see what that looks like. I kind of see now. Let's go back to that clone function, the helper function here. So this just, it's funny because it stringifies and then parses again. So it's like these are reverse the same thing. Again, this is the props of this, which is the initial data is data. Hey Fanta. What's up, man? Our thing worked last night. I guess when I look at this, what confuses me a little bit is I get the whole clone thing. That's fine. I guess it's the map part that confuses me. JavaScript map method. One more time. There's nothing special about this variable name, row. It doesn't mean anything, right? But this is an array, and so each element of the array, in this case row, is basically concatenated, right? So data is just, it's not a copy, it's actually this, every one of these is kind of destructured, for lack of a better term. I don't think so. I don't think that's right, Chris. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's right. So I actually can go to the site, bashercorp.com. Let's see. And I can just do this dot. Let's see, I can do